Have you ever found yourself standing in the wreckage of rejection, questioning your worth and wondering why someone who once held a special place in your life has now walked away? The sting of rejection can cut deep, leaving you questioning your value and second-guessing your own sense of self. It's natural to feel lost and unsure when someone you cared about chooses to step out of your life, leaving you to piece together the fragments of your confidence. However, rejection doesn't have to define you or your journey. In fact, it often becomes a catalyst for growth and self-discovery. When someone walks away, especially after a deep connection, it can feel like the end of something meaningful. Yet, as time passes, many of those who rejected you often begin to realize what they let go of. Absence has a way of illuminating the void that once existed when your presence was there. This video explores the powerful reasons why people often return after rejecting you. It's not about you seeking validation from their return, but about understanding their shifting perspectives and motives. Rejection, although painful, offers a unique opportunity for growth. When they leave, you're often forced to confront your own strengths, rebuild your confidence, and embrace your journey of self-improvement. The person they once knew is no longer the same. You've evolved into someone stronger, more self-assured, and full of purpose. This newfound growth challenges their perception of you, making them reflect on what they lost. Yet, their return may not always signify genuine change. Sometimes it's driven by their fear of losing what they never truly valued. Others may come back out of regret or loneliness, longing to fill a void they can no longer ignore. Understanding their motives is crucial to protecting your peace and ensuring that any connection they seek aligns with your own growth and well-being. In this video, we'll explore 9 key reasons why they may return after rejecting you, shedding light on their inner struggles and psychological shifts. You'll gain clarity on how to recognize whether their intentions are rooted in genuine remorse or simply a desire to reclaim what they once lost. Your peace and happiness are always worth prioritizing, and this video will help you navigate their return with strength and confidence. Let's dive deeper into their reasons so you can make empowered decisions for your own life. Number 1. They feel the void of your absence. Life has a way of teaching us lessons through absence, and in that absence, we often find clarity about what truly matters. When someone chooses to walk away, it may seem like a definitive ending, but the impact of that decision ripples through time. The initial moments are often filled with confusion, pain, and a sense of loss. Questions arise. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? These thoughts can be consuming, casting shadows over our confidence and self-worth. Yet, as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the haze begins to clear. What initially felt like an unbearable weight starts to feel lighter, and in that space, we find an opportunity for growth. Absence has a way of forcing us to confront our inner selves, to address wounds we may have ignored, and to rebuild our lives with a newfound sense of purpose. For the person who walked away, the story unfolds differently. Initially, they may feel a sense of relief or certainty in their choice. They convince themselves that their decision was justified, that they were moving towards something better or away from something that no longer served them. But as time passes, the narrative begins to shift. The absence of the relationship they left behind starts to make itself known in subtle but undeniable ways. It's in the quiet moments, the pauses in conversations with new acquaintances, the lack of depth in fleeting connections, and the realization that the things they once took for granted are no longer there. They begin to notice the void, and that void is not easily filled. It's not about missing just any connection, it's about missing the connection, the understanding, the shared moments, the feeling of being seen and valued. All of these elements come rushing back, often when they least expect it. The void of your absence becomes a mirror for them, reflecting back the things they may not have wanted to confront. It highlights the areas of their life that feel empty or incomplete. They may try to fill this space with distractions, new relationships, or pursuits, but these efforts often fall short. Because what they're truly missing isn't something that can be replaced. It's the unique bond that existed between you. In their mind, they may replay the moments you shared, dissecting their decisions and questioning their choices. They start to see the kindness, patience, and support you offered in a new light. What once felt ordinary now feels extraordinary, and the realization of what they've lost begins to weigh on them. Meanwhile, you are no longer the same person they left behind. The experience of loss and rejection has reshaped you in ways they may not fully comprehend. You've used the pain as a catalyst for growth, channeling your energy into becoming a stronger, more self-assured version of yourself. The things that once made you doubt your worth have now become the foundation of your resilience. You've learned to set boundaries, to prioritize your own well-being, and to find joy in your own company. This transformation is not just about proving them wrong, it's about proving to yourself that you are always capable of rising above the circumstances. When they begin to notice your growth, it can be both a wake-up call and a source of regret. They see the person you've become and realize that you've moved forward in ways they hadn't anticipated. This realization can trigger a desire to return, but the reasons behind their return are not always clear. Are they coming back because they genuinely value the connection and want to make amends? Or is their return driven by a sense of loss and the fear of missing out on what they now see as valuable? These questions are crucial to consider because their return should never come at the expense of your own peace and progress. In some cases, their absence has taught them important lessons. They may return with a genuine desire to rebuild the relationship, acknowledging their mistakes and showing a willingness to grow together. This kind of return can lead to healing and a deeper connection if it aligns with your own needs and boundaries. However, it's also possible that their return is motivated by selfish reasons, a need to alleviate their own guilt or to reclaim something they feel they've lost. In these instances, it's important to recognize that their intentions may not align with your best interests. Your growth and happiness are not tools to ease someone else's regret. You are not responsible for filling the void they feel or for making them feel whole again. Their journey is their own, and so is yours. The progress you've made in their absence is a testament to your strength, and it's a foundation you should protect fiercely. If they come back, it's up to you to decide whether their return adds value to your life or disrupts the balance you've worked so hard to achieve. This decision is not about them, it's about you and what you need to continue thriving. The void of your absence serves as a reminder of the impact you had in their life, but it's also a reflection of their own choices and the consequences of those choices. They may see your achievements, your happiness, and your growth as a stark contrast to what they expected. This contrast can be humbling, even painful, for them to witness. But it's not your responsibility to mend their wounds or to provide closure they failed to seek when they had the chance. Your journey is about embracing the person you've become and continuing to build a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. In the end, the void they feel is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It's a reflection of their own realization. You were never lacking. You were always enough. Their departure and subsequent regret are their burdens to bear, not yours. You've proven to yourself that you can rise above the pain, that you can find strength in adversity, and that you can create a life filled with purpose and joy. Whether they return or not, your worth remains unchanged, and your path forward is defined by the choices you make for yourself. Life has a way of bringing clarity through the distance. Their absence, while painful, has given you the space to grow and the perspective to see your own value. If they do return, let it be on your terms, guided by your own wisdom and self-awareness. You are not the person you were when they left, and that is your greatest triumph. The void they feel is a testament to what they lost, but your life is a testament to what you've gained. Keep moving forward, knowing that your worth is not tied to anyone else's actions or regrets. You are whole, resilient, and capable of creating a future that reflects the incredible person you've become. Number 2. Nostalgia clouds their judgment. Nostalgia is a powerful force, often weaving an idealized version of the past that clouds judgment and distorts reality. For someone who rejected you, this longing for what once was can drive them to reevaluate their choices. In the quiet moments of their solitude, they might begin to reminisce about the good times, selectively focusing on the highs of the relationship while conveniently forgetting the challenges that led to its end. The human mind has a natural tendency to romanticize the past, transforming ordinary moments into cherished memories. They might recall your laughter, the way you supported them during tough times, or the comfort of your presence. These memories become a refuge, a contrast to their present reality, which might feel less fulfilling or exciting. Nostalgia, in this context, acts as a lens, magnifying the positives of your relationship while blurring out the negatives. This longing is not always grounded in genuine affection or regret. More often than not, it stems from the comfort and familiarity you once provided. Life, with its unpredictable twists and turns, can sometimes feel overwhelming, and the mind naturally seeks solace in the known. When they think of you, they may not be thinking of you as you are now, but as you were when you were together. A version of you frozen in time, untouched by the growth and changes you've undergone. This imagined version becomes their safe harbor, a place to retreat when life feels uncertain or disappointing. It's not about you as a person, but about the role you played in their life, a role they now miss because it offered a sense of stability and connection. As nostalgia grips them, they might find themselves comparing their current experiences to the ones they shared with you. The spark in their new relationships might feel dim in comparison, or they might notice how surface level their current connections seem. Conversations that once felt vibrant and engaging now seem dull. The support they took for granted in you might be glaringly absent elsewhere. These comparisons, driven by nostalgia, create a yearning for what they believe they've lost. It's a longing that can push them to reach out, not necessarily because they value you as you are now, but because they miss how you made them feel in the past. However, it's essential to recognize that nostalgia is rarely a reliable guide for making decisions. It thrives on selective memory, amplifying the good while downplaying or ignoring the bad. The arguments, misunderstandings, and fundamental incompatibilities that may have existed between you are often conveniently forgotten. This selective amnesia can lead them to approach you with a skewed perspective, believing that rekindling the relationship will bring back the idealized version of the past. They might assume that reconnecting with you will fill the void they feel or resolve the discontent in their current life. But such expectations are based on an illusion, not the reality of who you are now or the growth you've experienced since they left. For you, their return can be both flattering and confusing. It's tempting to believe that their nostalgia signifies a deep recognition of your worth or a genuine desire to rebuild what was lost. But it's crucial to approach the situation with caution and clarity. Ask yourself, are they drawn to the person you've become, or are they chasing an idealized version of the past? Nostalgia, while powerful, is not synonymous with love or respect. It's an emotional reaction, one that can cloud their judgment and yours, if not addressed with honesty and self-awareness. Your growth since their departure is a testament to your resilience and self-worth. You've likely worked hard to heal, to rediscover your identity, and to build a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Allowing someone back into your life solely because they're nostalgic for what once was risks undoing the progress you've made. Their return should be based on mutual respect, understanding, and a shared vision for the future, not a misguided attempt to relive the past. It's also worth considering whether their nostalgia is a reflection of genuine regret or a temporary reaction to their current circumstances. Perhaps they're feeling lonely, facing challenges they didn't anticipate, or realizing that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. These feelings can create a sense of urgency, pushing them to seek comfort in what feels familiar. But if their motivation is rooted in self-interest or a desire to escape their own discomfort, their return is unlikely to lead to a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Nostalgia may bring them back, but it cannot sustain a connection built on unequal intentions or unresolved issues. At its core, nostalgia is a longing for a time when things felt simpler or more certain. For them, you might represent a chapter of their life that was filled with warmth, connection, and meaning. But for you, their return should not be an opportunity to recreate the past, but a chance to evaluate whether they align with your present and future. Are they willing to acknowledge the mistakes they made? Have they grown and changed in ways that make a renewed relationship possible? Or are they simply seeking to soothe their own discomfort without regard for how their actions affect you? Your well-being and peace of mind should always come first. While it's natural to feel a sense of validation when someone who rejected you expresses a desire to return, it's important to remember that your worth is not defined by their recognition. You were enough before they left, and you are enough now, regardless of whether they come back. Nostalgia may cloud their judgment, but it doesn't have to cloud yours. Approach their return with an open heart but a discerning mind. Trust your instincts and prioritize the life you've built in their absence. If they truly value you, their actions will reflect that. They will approach you with humility, respect, and a genuine desire to rebuild a connection based on the person you are today. They will acknowledge the pain their rejection caused and take responsibility for their role in it. But if their return feels like an attempt to relive a fantasy or to escape their own discomfort, it's okay to set boundaries and protect the progress you've made. Nostalgia may be powerful, but your self-respect and happiness are even more so. Ultimately, their return is a testament to the impact you had on their life. It's a reflection of the kindness, support, and connection you offered, a connection that left an imprint even in your absence. But whether or not they have a place in your life again is entirely up to you. Nostalgia may bring them back, but it's your clarity, strength, and sense of self that will determine the path forward. You deserve a relationship built on mutual respect and genuine appreciation, not one clouded by an idealized version of the past. Hold on to that truth as you navigate their return, and never forget the incredible person you've become. Number 3. Their new pursuit didn't work out. When someone rejects you and moves on to pursue another relationship or goal, it often feels like a definitive closure, a choice that leaves you questioning your worth. Yet, life has a way of unraveling expectations, and the allure of what they chased can begin to fade. Sometimes their new pursuit doesn't work out, leaving them to confront the reality that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. When this happens, they may start to re-examine what they left behind, and inevitably, their thoughts turn back to you. What initially seemed like an exciting new chapter may have revealed itself to be an illusion, a pursuit that failed to deliver the happiness or fulfillment they anticipated. In the aftermath of their disappointment, they're left with a mix of regret and longing, wondering if they made a mistake in letting you go. People often romanticize change, believing that a new relationship, career, or lifestyle will solve their problems or fill a void within them. It's easy to idealize something new because it offers the promise of escape, a way to leave behind challenges or dissatisfaction without addressing the root causes. However, these pursuits frequently fall short because they're based on external validation rather than internal growth. When their new relationship fizzles out, or their career aspirations don't provide the satisfaction they hoped for, they're forced to confront the truth. Happiness doesn't come from external sources alone. The realization can be humbling and painful, especially when they begin to compare their present to the stability, care, and depth you once provided. In this state of disappointment, their mind naturally gravitates back to what felt safe and supportive. They might recall the ways you were there for them during difficult times, the understanding you offered, and the connection you shared. These memories become amplified when contrasted with the dissatisfaction they feel in their current situation. Perhaps their new partner lacked the emotional depth you brought to the table, or their professional goals proved to be more isolating than empowering. Whatever the specifics, they find themselves longing for the comfort and authenticity they once dismissed. It's not necessarily that they've changed or grown, rather they're reacting to the failure of their new pursuit by seeking solace in the past. However, their return under these circumstances raises important questions about their intentions and emotional maturity. Are they coming back because they genuinely appreciate you and have realized your worth? Or are they simply, number 4, they've grown and realized their mistake? Sometimes rejection isn't the end of a story, but a turning point. When someone walks away, it can feel like a definitive rejection of everything you offered. The connection, the effort, the emotional investment, all dismissed in an instant. Yet life has a way of humbling people, and over time, some realize that their decision to reject you wasn't just a mistake. It was a loss that reshaped their understanding of relationships and their own values. Growth often comes through experiences, both positive and negative, and in their time away from you, they may have faced situations that forced them to reflect, mature, and reassess what truly matters. Perhaps they've grown in ways that now allow them to see clearly what they once took for granted. This realization can be both validating and complicated, as their newfound perspective brings them back to you with a different mindset and a deeper appreciation for what they lost. Growth isn't an overnight process, nor is it something that happens without discomfort. For someone who rejected you to realize their mistake, they likely had to confront the consequences of their decision. Maybe they entered into a new relationship only to find it lacked the depth and authenticity of what you shared. Perhaps they chased personal ambitions or distractions that ultimately left them feeling unfulfilled. Whatever their journey, it was likely marked by moments of introspection, regret, and the realization that they misunderstood or undervalued the connection you offered. They may have learned that genuine relationships aren't as easy to find as they once believed, and that the qualities you brought to the table, kindness, understanding, loyalty, or patience, are rare and irreplaceable. When someone grows through their experiences, it can transform their perspective in profound ways. They might now see how their past actions were influenced by immaturity, fear, or unrealistic expectations. They may have rejected you not because of who you were, but because of their own inability to appreciate what they had. Perhaps they were overwhelmed by their own insecurities, projecting their doubts onto the relationship instead of confronting their inner struggles. With time and reflection, they may have come to understand that their rejection wasn't just a choice. It was a failure to recognize something valuable and meaningful. This newfound awareness can lead them back to you, not out of desperation, but from a place of sincerity and growth. However, their growth doesn't automatically erase the hurt they caused or guarantee a future together. When they return, it's essential to consider the depth of their realization and the authenticity of their intentions. Have they truly changed, or are they simply trying to alleviate their own guilt or loneliness? Growth is not just about recognizing past mistakes. It's about demonstrating accountability and a willingness to make amends. If they've genuinely matured, they will approach you with humility, acknowledging the pain they caused and showing a commitment to earning your trust again. Their actions will reflect their words, and they will prioritize your emotional well-being over their desire for reconciliation. For you, their return can be both a compliment and a challenge. It's validating to know that they now see your worth, but it's also a reminder of the pain their rejection inflicted. You've likely grown in their absence as well, finding strength, clarity, and a deeper understanding of your own needs and boundaries. Their realization of their mistake doesn't obligate you to give them another chance. Your journey is your own, and you have the right to decide whether their return aligns with the person you've become. Rebuilding a connection requires mutual effort, trust, and respect, and it's okay to take time to evaluate whether those elements are genuinely present. It's also important to recognize that growth is a continuous process. Just because they've realized their mistake doesn't mean they've fully transformed. Relationships thrive when both individuals are committed to ongoing self-improvement and communication. If their return is motivated by true growth, they will be open to addressing the past honestly and working together to build something stronger. But if their return feels rushed or insincere, it's a sign that they may not yet be ready for the type of relationship you deserve. When someone grows and realizes their mistake, it can serve as a powerful lesson for both parties. For them, it's a reminder that actions have consequences, and that meaningful connections should never be taken for granted. For you, it's an opportunity to reflect on your own journey and recognize the strength you've gained through adversity. Their return doesn't diminish the progress you've made. Instead, it highlights the qualities that make you irreplaceable. Whether you choose to welcome them back or move forward without them, the decision should honor your growth and the lessons you've learned. If you decide to give them another chance, it's essential to set clear boundaries and communicate openly about your expectations. Their return should be rooted in mutual respect and a shared vision for the future, not just an attempt to recapture the past. Trust is not rebuilt overnight, and it's okay to take things slowly as you navigate the complexities of rekindling a connection. Be honest with yourself about what you need and deserve, and don't be afraid to voice those needs. True growth involves understanding and respecting each other's boundaries, and a mature partner will be willing to do the work required to rebuild trust. On the other hand, if their return doesn't feel aligned with your journey, it's okay to let go. Their realization of their mistake doesn't diminish your worth, nor does it define your future. You've grown in their absence, and you have the right to prioritize your own happiness and peace of mind. Sometimes, the best way to honor your growth is to leave the past behind and continue building a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Ultimately, their growth and realization are not the final chapter. They're just another part of the story. Whether their return leads to reconciliation or closure, it's a reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the power of growth and self-awareness. People make mistakes, but it's how they respond to those mistakes that defines their character. If they've truly grown and their intentions are genuine, their return can be an opportunity to create something new and meaningful. But if their growth feels incomplete or their actions don't match their words, it's a sign to proceed with caution. You are the author of your own story, and their return is just one page in the narrative. Whether you choose to rewrite the chapter together or turn the page, let your decision be guided by self-respect, clarity, and the knowledge that you deserve a relationship built on mutual growth and understanding. Their realization of their mistake is a reflection of your irreplaceable value, but it's your journey that truly defines who you are and what you deserve. Number 5, they see you thriving without them. When someone sees you thriving without them, it creates a profound ripple effect in their perception. They might have left thinking your world would crumble in their absence, but instead, you took the rejection as a catalyst for growth. This thriving, whether it's advancing in your career, improving your health, nurturing relationships, or simply radiating peace and happiness, becomes a powerful testament to your resilience. Your ability to rise above what could have been a debilitating setback demonstrates a strength they perhaps underestimated. They see the life you've built, the goals you've achieved, and the lightness in your spirit that speaks volumes about your journey. For them, this is a moment of reflection, perhaps even regret, as they begin to realize the magnitude of what they lost. The transformation they witness is not just about external achievements, but the internal fortitude that fuels your success. It forces them to confront the idea that rejecting you might have been one of their biggest mistakes. This thriving, however, is not about revenge or proving anyone wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable, independent, and deserving of all the good things life has to offer. You chose to channel the pain into purpose, turning a difficult experience into an opportunity to grow. Your thriving is a declaration of self-worth, showing that your happiness and success were never tied to their approval. They might observe your accomplishments from afar, noticing the glow of someone who has moved forward without looking back. It's not uncommon for them to feel a mix of emotions: envy, admiration, and even guilt. These feelings can compel them to reconsider their decision to walk away, and they may start to question whether they were too hasty or short-sighted in letting go of someone so remarkable. Their perspective shifts as they see you not as someone they rejected, but as someone they deeply misjudged. The life you've created without them may serve as a stark contrast to whatever they're experiencing. Perhaps their own life hasn't progressed as they hoped, or the choices they made didn't bring them the fulfillment they sought. In seeing your progress, they might begin to realize that they let go of something rare and valuable. Your growth is a reflection of qualities they now recognize they overlooked: determination, adaptability, and an unwavering commitment to self-improvement. These are qualities they may find themselves missing, especially when comparing you to others who lack the same depth and resilience. The more they see you thriving, the more they are reminded of what they once had and let slip through their fingers. It's a realization that can be both humbling and unsettling, as it forces them to confront their own shortcomings and the consequences of their decisions. But your thriving is not just about what they see, it's about how you feel. The confidence you've gained, the peace you've cultivated, and the joy you've embraced are all signs of a life lived authentically. You've learned to value yourself in ways that perhaps you didn't before, and that self-worth is evident in every aspect of your life. This internal transformation often becomes visible to others, and it's what draws their attention back to you. They see someone who is no longer weighed down by rejection, someone who has taken control of their own narrative. It's inspiring, even intimidating, because it highlights the strength they may feel they lack. While they might see your thriving as a reason to reconnect, it's essential to remember that their interest is not what validates your journey. Your growth is yours alone, a result of your choices and your determination to rise above the pain. Their return, sparked by seeing you thrive, is not always a cause for celebration. It's important to approach such situations with clarity and caution. Are they returning because they genuinely value you and the person you've become, or are they motivated by regret and a fear of missing out? Their intentions may not always align with your best interests, and it's crucial to protect the life you've built. Thriving without them doesn't mean you owe them a second chance. It means you've proven to yourself that your happiness and success are not contingent on their presence. If they come back, it should only be if their return aligns with your values, boundaries, and aspirations. You've worked too hard to let someone disrupt the progress you've made, and their return should never compromise the peace you've cultivated. Seeing you thrive can also serve as a powerful reminder of the lessons rejection taught you. It showed you that pain can be a teacher, that loss can lead to gain, and that you are capable of overcoming challenges you once thought insurmountable. This perspective adds depth to your thriving, as it's not just about external success, but also about the wisdom and resilience you've gained. They may see the results, but only you truly understand the journey. Your thriving is a testament to the nights spent questioning your worth, the effort it took to rebuild, and the decision to choose yourself when it felt like no one else would. This understanding empowers you to approach their return with confidence, knowing that you hold the power to decide what's best for you. Your thriving doesn't just affect them, it inspires others as well. People around you may notice your transformation and feel motivated to pursue their own growth. Your story becomes a beacon of hope, showing that rejection is not the end, but a beginning. You demonstrate that thriving is not about avoiding pain, but about using it as a stepping stone to something greater. This ripple effect of your growth extends far beyond the person who rejected you, touching the lives of those who admire your strength and resilience. It's a reminder that thriving is not just personal, it's impactful, leaving a legacy of inspiration for others to follow. In the end, thriving without them is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving everything to yourself. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and embracing the journey of self-discovery and growth. Whether they come back or not, their perception of your thriving does not define its value. You've grown, evolved, and flourished, and that is enough. The life you've built is a reflection of your strength and a celebration of your resilience. They may see you thriving and feel compelled to reconnect, but the choice of whether to let them back in is entirely yours. Your thriving is your triumph, a testament to your ability to rise above and a reminder that you are whole, complete, and capable of creating a beautiful life, no matter who chooses to walk away. Number 6, loneliness pushes them back. Loneliness has a unique way of pushing people toward reconciliation, even with those they once dismissed. When someone experiences loneliness after rejecting you, it's often a reflection of the void your absence has left in their life. Initially, they may have felt confident in their decision to walk away, perhaps believing that they were moving towards something or someone better suited to their needs. However, as time passes and the distractions fade, the stark reality of being alone can set in. The moments they once shared with you, your laughter, your understanding, and your companionship, become memories that contrast sharply with the emptiness they now feel. Loneliness isn't just the absence of company, it's the absence of meaningful connection. And when they start to feel its weight, they might find themselves drawn back to you. Human beings are wired for connection, and the lack of it can create a profound sense of unease. They might find themselves scrolling through old photos, rereading past conversations, or reminiscing about times when life felt fuller with you in it. The comfort you provided, whether through your emotional support, shared experiences, or simply your presence, becomes magnified in their mind. Loneliness has a way of amplifying what's missing. making the memories of you stand out in stark relief. They begin to realize that the connections they've tried to build since your departure lack the depth and authenticity that characterized your relationship. Superficial interactions may provide temporary relief, but they don't fill the deeper void that meaningful companionship once did. In their loneliness, they might reach out, not necessarily because they've had a complete change of heart, but because they crave the comfort you once offered. This isn't always a conscious decision. Sometimes it's driven by an instinctual need to alleviate their feelings of isolation. The messages or calls they send may seem sudden, but they're often the result of long hours spent grappling with their solitude. They might express regret, nostalgia, or a desire to reconnect, but it's crucial to consider the motives behind their actions. Are they reaching out because they genuinely value you and what you shared, or are they seeking a way to escape the discomfort of their loneliness? Their intentions may not always align with your best interests, and it's essential to approach their return with clarity and caution. Loneliness can distort their perspective, making them idealize the relationship they had with you. They may forget the reasons for the initial rejection or downplay the challenges that led to the split. Instead, they focus on the good times, viewing you as the solution to their current emotional state. This idealization can make their outreach feel sincere, but it's important to remember that their loneliness is not your responsibility to fix. You are not a remedy for their emotional struggles, and your worth is not defined by their need for companionship. If they truly wish to return, it should come from a place of genuine appreciation and respect for you as an individual, not just a desire to fill the void in their life. It's also possible that their loneliness stems from the realization that others in their life cannot provide what you did. They may have underestimated the uniqueness of your connection, taking for granted the way you understood them, supported them, and stood by them during difficult times. As they encounter relationships that lack this depth, the comparison becomes unavoidable. They begin to see the value of what they lost, and loneliness becomes a mirror reflecting their mistakes. This awareness can drive them to seek reconciliation, but again, it's crucial to evaluate their sincerity. Are they reaching out to rebuild a meaningful relationship, or are they simply trying to soothe their own discomfort? For you, their return can be both validating and confusing. It's natural to feel a sense of vindication when someone who rejected you realizes your worth, but it's equally important to prioritize your own emotional health. Loneliness might push them back toward you, but that doesn't mean you are obligated to let them in. Consider how their return aligns with your own growth and happiness. Have they demonstrated genuine change, or are they still acting from a place of self-interest? Your thriving existence should not be jeopardized by someone who seeks to re-enter your life for the wrong reasons. Loneliness also reveals the truth about their emotional maturity. Some people use periods of solitude as opportunities for self-reflection and growth, while others view loneliness as a problem to be immediately solved. If their return is fueled solely by a desire to avoid being alone, it's unlikely to result in a healthy or lasting connection. A mature individual will have taken the time to understand their feelings, reflect on their actions, and approach you with humility and accountability. They won't expect you to instantly bridge the gap their loneliness has created. Instead, they'll acknowledge the effort required to rebuild trust and connection. For others, loneliness can serve as a wake-up call, highlighting the importance of meaningful relationships and the mistakes they've made in letting those relationships slip away. If this is the case, their return might be accompanied by genuine efforts to show that they've changed and are ready to contribute to a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. However, even in these instances, it's essential to assess whether their actions align with their words. True change is demonstrated over time, not in a single conversation or grand gesture. As you navigate their return, remember the strength you've gained in their absence. You've grown, evolved, and built a life that doesn't depend on their presence for fulfillment. Their loneliness might push them back, but your worth was never tied to their recognition of it. You have the power to choose what's best for your heart and your future. If their return feels genuine and aligns with your values, it may be worth exploring. But if their actions suggest they're seeking comfort without accountability, it's okay to keep your distance. Your peace and well-being should always come first. Number 7, they struggle with guilt. Guilt has a way of creeping into the quiet moments, forcing someone to confront the consequences of their actions. When someone rejects you and later begins to feel the weight of guilt, it's often because they've had time to reflect on how their choices impacted you. They might remember the moments when you were there for them, the trust you offered, and the emotional investment you made, only to have it disregarded. Guilt isn't always immediate. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, or even years for someone to come to terms with the pain they caused. As they replay events in their mind, the realization that they may have hurt someone who genuinely cared for them can become an emotional burden they struggle to shake off. This internal conflict might push them to seek reconciliation, hoping to make amends for their past actions. The struggle with guilt can manifest in various ways. For some, it's a persistent feeling that gnaws at them, reminding them of what they've done. They might try to rationalize their behavior, telling themselves they made the best choice at the time, but deep down, they know they could have handled things better. For others, guilt emerges in moments of vulnerability, perhaps when they see you thriving without them, or when they experience a similar rejection themselves. These experiences force them to confront the reality of their actions, making them more empathetic to the pain they caused. Guilt is a powerful motivator because it's tied to a person's sense of morality and self-image. To alleviate this discomfort, they may attempt to reconnect, not only to apologize, but also to repair their own self-perception. When they struggle with guilt, their outreach might come in the form of an apology, either direct or indirect. They may send a message acknowledging their mistakes, or they might attempt to rekindle the connection by showing interest in your life. While their intentions might seem sincere, it's important to evaluate whether their actions are driven by a genuine desire to make things right, or simply an attempt to ease their own conscience. Guilt can compel people to act, but those actions aren't always selfless. Sometimes the need to feel absolved of wrongdoing can overshadow their consideration for how you feel or what you need. Guilt also has a way of reshaping their perception of you. As they reflect on the past, they may begin to see you in a different light. The qualities they once overlooked, your kindness, patience, and unwavering support, become magnified. They might realize that rejecting you wasn't just a mistake, but a loss of something meaningful. This newfound appreciation can deepen their sense of remorse, making them more determined to seek your forgiveness. However, it's important to recognize that their realization, while validating, doesn't obligate you to reopen the door they closed. Forgiveness is a personal choice, and reconciliation should only occur if it aligns with your emotional well-being and boundaries. The struggle with guilt can also be complicated by their current circumstances. If they've faced challenges or setbacks since rejecting you, those experiences might intensify their feelings of regret. They may compare their current state to the support and stability you once provided, making their guilt even harder to bear. This isn't to say that their feelings are insincere, but it's worth considering whether their guilt is rooted in genuine regret for how they treated you, or simply a reaction to their own unhappiness. True accountability involves more than just feeling bad about past actions. It requires a commitment to change and a willingness to make amends in a way that prioritizes your needs. not just their desire for closure. For some, guilt can become a catalyst for personal growth. The discomfort of knowing they hurt someone can push them to examine their behavior and work toward becoming a better person. If this is the case, their return might be accompanied by visible signs of maturity and self-awareness. They may express not only regret, but also a clear understanding of what they did wrong and how they've grown from the experience. This kind of accountability is rare but meaningful, and it can open the door to a healthier, more respectful dynamic, if that's something you're willing to consider. However, even in these situations, it's crucial to prioritize your own healing and ensure that their return doesn't disrupt the progress you've made in their absence. On the other hand, guilt can also lead to manipulative behavior. Some people, unable to cope with their own discomfort, might try to shift the focus onto you, seeking reassurance that they're not a bad person. They might say things like, "I've been thinking about how I hurt you, and it's been eating me up inside," not necessarily to take responsibility, but to elicit sympathy or absolution. This kind of interaction can be emotionally draining and unproductive, as it places the burden of their guilt onto you. It's important to recognize these dynamics and protect yourself from being drawn into a situation where you're expected to provide comfort to someone who hurt you. Your response to their struggle with guilt is entirely up to you. You might choose to forgive them, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation. It can simply be a way of letting go of the anger and resentment that might still linger. Alternatively, you might decide that their guilt is their own to deal with and that re-engaging with them would not serve your best interests. Either choice is valid as long as it prioritizes your emotional health and respects the progress you've made. The struggle with guilt is ultimately a reflection of their inner conflict, not a measure of your worth. Their remorse doesn't define you, nor does it erase the pain they caused. What it does offer is an opportunity for clarity, both for them and for you. As they grapple with their feelings, you have the chance to reflect on what you want and need from your relationships. Whether you choose to give them a second chance or keep them at a distance, the decision should be rooted in your own values, boundaries, and sense of self-worth. Guilt may push them to seek forgiveness, but it's important to remember that forgiveness is a gift, not a guarantee. They must earn it through genuine effort and accountability, not just words. And even if you choose to forgive, it doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. Your peace and happiness are paramount, and their struggle with guilt should never compromise that. You've grown in their absence, and their return, if it happens, should only enhance the life you've built, not disrupt it. Number 8. They realize the depth of your connection. Realizing the depth of a connection often happens when it's too late. For someone who initially walked away, this epiphany can be a slow and sobering process. At first, they may not have fully understood what they were leaving behind. Perhaps they took your presence, kindness, and loyalty for granted, assuming those qualities were easy to find elsewhere. But as time goes on and life unfolds, they begin to notice the void left by your absence. The relationships they encounter after you might lack the same depth, warmth, or understanding. They might try to recreate what they had with you, only to realize that true connection is not easily replicated. This recognition can hit hard, especially when they understand that what you shared was unique and rare, a bond that cannot be easily replaced or forgotten. True connections are built on layers of shared experiences, mutual understanding, and unspoken trust. When someone walks away, they often fail to consider the weight of these intangible elements. At the time, they might focus on surface-level disagreements or fleeting doubts, unaware of the intricate tapestry that a deep relationship represents. It's only when they step away that they begin to unravel the depth of what they've lost. They recall the small, meaningful moments, the laughter shared over inside jokes, the comfort of your presence during difficult times, and the way you always seemed to understand them without needing to be told. These memories linger, growing more significant as they compare them to the shallower interactions they now experience. The realization of a deep connection often comes during moments of introspection. Perhaps they hear a song that reminds them of you, or visit a place you both loved. These triggers can evoke a flood of emotions, forcing them to confront the truth. Their life feels different, emptier without you in it. They might try to rationalize their decision to walk away, but the weight of their feelings makes it difficult to ignore. They start to see the nuances of your bond, recognizing how you supported and complemented each other in ways they didn't appreciate before. This understanding can be both comforting and painful, as it underscores not only the strength of your connection, but also the finality of their decision to leave. For some, this realization is accompanied by regret. They begin to wonder what might have been if they had chosen differently. What if they had stayed and worked through the challenges instead of walking away? These questions can be haunting, as they're left to imagine a version of their life that includes you, a life that now feels out of reach. Regret can be a powerful motivator, pushing them to reach out and try to reconnect. They might send a message, hoping to rekindle the spark, or at least test the waters to see if there's a chance of rebuilding what was lost. But even if they take this step, it's important to remember that their realization, while significant, doesn't erase the hurt or betrayal you may have felt. The depth of a connection is often tied to the way two people make each other feel. With you, they likely felt seen, heard, and valued in ways that are difficult to replicate. This isn't just about chemistry or compatibility. It's about the emotional safety and authenticity that come from being with someone who truly understands and accepts you. When they left, they might have underestimated how rare this type of connection is. Now, as they navigate other relationships, they find themselves missing the ease and comfort they had with you. This longing can be bittersweet, as it highlights both the beauty of what you shared and the reality of their current situation. Their realization might also stem from a deeper understanding of themselves. As time passes, people grow and change, and with that growth often comes a clearer perspective on what truly matters. They may have walked away from you because they were not ready to fully appreciate the connection you offered. Perhaps they were caught up in their own fears, insecurities, or external pressures which clouded their judgment. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, they see things differently. They recognize the value of your relationship and the ways it enriched their life. This self-awareness can be a catalyst for reaching out, as they seek to mend the bond they once let slip away. However, their realization doesn't automatically mean they deserve a second chance. Understanding the depth of a connection is one thing. Taking responsibility for their actions and demonstrating genuine change is another. It's important to evaluate their intentions carefully. Are they reaching out because they truly appreciate what you had, or are they simply seeking to fill a void in their own life? Their motives matter, especially if their return could disrupt the progress you've made in their absence. You've likely grown and evolved since they left, and any decision to let them back into your life should align with your own needs and boundaries. The depth of a connection isn't something that can be easily recreated or replaced. It's built on a foundation of trust, mutual respect, and shared vulnerability. When someone realizes the significance of what they had with you, it's a testament to the strength of your bond. But it's also a reminder of the importance of cherishing meaningful relationships while they last. Their realization, while poignant, is ultimately their own journey. It's up to you to decide whether their newfound understanding has a place in your life or if it's a chapter best left in the past. As you reflect on their realization, Remember that your worth was never tied to their recognition of your connection. The depth of your bond speaks to your capacity for love, empathy, and understanding, qualities that are inherent to who you are. Whether or not they fully appreciate this, you carry the essence of that connection within you. Their acknowledgement of its depth may validate your feelings, but it doesn't define your value. You are whole and complete on your own, with or without their realization. Ultimately, the realization of the depth of a connection is a powerful reminder of the impact we have on each other's lives. It's a testament to the beauty and complexity of human relationships, and the ways we shape and are shaped by those we care about. Whether their realization leads to reconciliation, closure, or simply a deeper appreciation for what you shared, it's an opportunity for growth and understanding for both of you.